Hello, it's Technology Central here, and welcome to this tutorial, which is a complete guide to Google Forms. To get started, you need to navigate to Google Forms. There'll be a link in the description. Once you've navigated to Google Forms, you'll also need to sign in using your Google account. If you don't have a Google account, you need to create one. There's a video on our channel about how to do that. Now you have a choice. Either create a new form or open an existing one. Existing forms will appear below this Recent Forms heading. Otherwise, we can create a new form. You can use the template gallery to look at some preset and pre-made forms, or we can create a new blank form. That's what we're going to do in this tutorial. We now have a series of options. Here is our basic blank form. Before we begin, there's a few things we need to set. The first is the name for our form. In the top left-hand corner, where it says Untitled Form, click here and then enter the name for your form. Finally, press Enter to save the name. You can also see the title of your form has been changed. Below the title of our form is a description. Simply click on it to enter the description. Now let's look at the appearance of our form. To change the style of our forms, come to Customise Theme here. Now you can choose the theme color, you can choose a header image, and you can choose the background color as so. We're going to choose this blue theme, and we're not going to include a header image. You can also change the font on your form as so. Now let's start adding some questions to our form. Here we have a basic question. Set the question in this question box. You can include an image if you choose by clicking the image button. Now you need to choose the type of question you're asking. It can be one of these several different options. Short answer is a small text-based answer, which is suitable for this question. You can also allow them to enter a longer paragraph answer, choose from multiple choices, choose multiple different options, use a drop-down, or several other options. We'll cover some of these later on in this tutorial. We can also add a validation to the input for each question. To do that, come to the three dots and choose Response Validation. Here, there are several different types of validation that we can choose from. We can validate against a number, a text, a length, or a regular expression. I'm going to validate the length of the input and set a minimum character count to be 1. Therefore, any name must have at least 1 character. You can also add some custom error text here if you want to give a more useful error when someone gets this wrong. Let's look at how to add an extra question. Come to the plus button to add another question. For a multiple choice question, the person filling in the form will be able to select one option from the list of options you will give them. To set the options, enter each option here. To add another option, simply click where it says Add Option, and another option will appear. To delete a question, simply come down to the Delete button and click it. Now let's look at checkbox questions. Again, add a question and select checkbox. Here we have options in the same way as before. However, the person filling in your form can select as many of them as they choose. For drop-down questions, select drop-down from the type of question. Here again, we will add a series of options, and these will appear in a drop-down list for the user to select from. Finally, let's look at the date option. The date allows the user to enter a date which will be validated against the day, month and year. Now let's look at how to preview our form. To preview the form, come up to the preview button up here in the top right hand side. Here you'll be able to see a version of the form where you can enter some data. Like so. When you're done, you can click submit. And you'll be taken to the form's completion page. Click submit another response. To return to editing, come down to the pencil button in the bottom right. Now, if we click on responses, we'll be able to see we have one response where the user responded Dave, and they responded with the date the 1st of January 2020. To export all of your responses into a spreadsheet, click the Create Spreadsheet button, and this will create a Google Sheet with all of the responses. Go check out our tutorial on how to use Google Sheets if you don't know what to do from there. Now, let's look at some of the other options we have for constructing our form. We can add a text field with a title, as so. Again, we can delete that with the delete button. You can add an image field, where you'll get the image from any of these options, for example, from Google Drive, where we can insert our logo. And here you have an image field. And similarly, you can add a video field by providing a URL to a video. You can rearrange the questions and any of these fields by hovering over them, clicking and holding down your mouse on the 6 dots that appear at the top and dragging them around to change their position. Now you can see the image field is at the top. We can also add multiple sections to our forms. These allow greater control over which questions a user will answer. Let's add a second section. Here we have section 1 of 2, and when it's completed, you can choose to either continue to the next section, go to a specific section, or submit the form. This means that you can add control over how users step through your form. Multiple choice questions also have the ability to send you to different parts of your form based on the user's response. Each section comes with its own heading and description. Finally, let's look at the different settings for presenting our form. We do that from the Settings menu here at the top right. There are several general settings that apply to your form. We can collect email addresses, require people to sign into Google to fill in the form, which also allows us to limit each person to filling in the form once. We can enable people that are filling in the form to edit it after they have submitted, and also so that they can see a summary of responses. Now let's look at the presentation settings. Here you can show a progress bar, choose the order questions are presented in, and customize the response message. This is the message that you see after they have submitted the form. Finally, there are some options for quizzes. This option allows you to turn your form into a quiz and assign points for every question. Once your form is complete, you'll need to send it to other people so that they can fill it in. To do that, come to the Send option. Here, you can send via email, send them a link to the form, or embed it in a HTML web page. You also have quick share options for Facebook and Twitter. You also have the option to collect email addresses of the people who are filling in your form as you go. That's all we've got to show you in this tutorial. I hope you found it useful. If you have, leave a like, subscribe, and leave us a comment. But for now, thanks for watching and goodbye.